we get your first comment on Michael Chandler as the comeback opponent?
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Feel good, feel energetic, feel ready. You know, I'm throwing up my high kicks faster than I'm throwing out my jab. So I'm very excited to get back, alright?
And when do you get to Vegas?
Tomorrow.
Conor McGregor has ended his silence since the news broke of his upcoming octagon return against Michael Chandler. McGregor will coach alongside Chandler in the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter in Las Vegas. After the show, McGregor and Chandler will square off at a to-be-announced event later this year. McGregor has been relatively quiet since the announcement of his return, except for a reaction to Chandler's fight prediction. But he recently gave his first in-person comments since the news. If his recent comments are any indication, McGregor seems motivated and ready to begin his comeback. Chandler, on the other hand, is looking to spoil McGregor's excitement and pick up the biggest win of his career. Ariel Helwani assures Islam Makhachev is not at Khabib Nurmagomedov's level. During the most recent episode of the MMA Hour, host Helwani reacted to this past weekend's pay-per-view event and the ramifications of the champion versus champion super fight that topped the bill, having explained that he doesn't believe Makhachev has surpassed Volkanovski as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the UFC, a sentiment seemingly shared by the promotion's rankings panel. The Canadian journalist named another individual whom he thinks the Russian is yet to surmount. "I'm sorry, he isn't as good as Khabib. He is not," Helwani said. At this stage, 26 fights in, Khabib was more refined, dominant, better. Let's hear it from the man himself.
As good as Khabib. He is not. He is not as good as Khabib. He is not. At this stage, 26 fights in, Khabib was more refined, dominant, better. He is not. That being said, he's one of the top 3 best fighters on the planet. So please be clear. I know we're not allowed to criticize Islam Makhachev. I know that's taboo.
Khabib Hive is coming.
I don't give a fuck. I'm saying he won the fight. I'm saying he won fair and square. I don't think it's a robbery. I'm being as unbiased as possible. But I'm also saying I believe we are putting the praise and all the stuff that we had on Khabib on his shoulders. We are taking the baton that Khabib had and giving it to him because we want to continue this lineage. It ain't the same. He's not the same guy right now.
Alexander Volkanovski successfully makes his case to keep pound-for-pound #1 spot. Volkanovski's pursuit of champ status fell short via unanimous decision at UFC 284. Some felt Volkanovski did enough to earn the win on the judges' scorecards, but it wasn't to be for the Australian star. Despite the setback, Volkanovski thinks he's gained more than he's lost after UFC 284 didn't get scored in his favor. During a recent interview on the MMA Hour, Volkanovski named who he believes is the pound-for-pound king after UFC 284. "I don't want to be that guy, but if he was just a featherweight in my division, I'd squash him. It's a walk in the park," Volkanovski said. Listen closely.
A lot of people thought I won that fight. I thought I won that fight, and I moved up. We talk about pound for pound, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if we were the same size. Imagine if we were the same weight class. Imagine if he was a featherweight. Yeah, I don't want to sound like, I don't want to be that guy.
It's a crazy thing, though. It's a crazy thing because
I don't want to be that guy. But if he was just a featherweight in my division, I squash him.
Volkanovski is campaigning for an immediate rematch with Makhachev later this year. He also could return to featherweight to unify the belt against Yair Rodriguez, although lightweight is his preferred next destination. Before we continue, don't forget to visit our website and subscribe to our free newsletter so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the world of the UFC in minutes. Click the information link above. And while you are at it, check out our podcast and social media accounts. Thank you for your support. Now let's get back to the news. Islam Makhachev reacts to Alexander Volkanovski retaining pound-for-pound #1 spot. Islam Makhachev was primarily eyeing Alexander Volkanovski's pound-for-pound #1 spot going into the UFC 284 headliner. The UFC lightweight even put his title on the line, which he successfully went on to defend with a unanimous decision win over Volkanovski. However, Makhachev remains #2 in the UFC pound-for-pound rankings, which were updated yesterday despite his win over the Great. Weighing on the rankings snub, the Dagestani claims that he never expected justice to be served in the first place. Makhachev alluded to discrimination towards Russian athletes, referring to Magomed Ankalaev and Petr Yan, who have both been on the receiving end of controversial decisions in their last outings. The UFC lightweight champ recently told Russian media, "I never expected justice and still don't, because we saw on the example of our other fighters, Ankalaev, Petr Yan, saw the attitude towards us always. Take a look."
Но я никогда не ждал справедливости и до сих пор не жду, потому что мы на примере других наших бойцов Анкалаева, там Петра Яна видели отношение к нам всегда, так что главное, я поехал 13 тысяч километров, победил их чемпиона, там мне подняли руку и с поднятой головой уверенный спой.
Islam Makhachev's team releases statement after Dan Hooker's hefty IV usage accusations. The hangman accused Makhachev of using an intravenous to rehydrate after he weighed in. Makhachev's co-manager, Nurmagomedov, has now strongly denied all allegations of cheating, labeling Hooker a salty loser looking for attention. Magomedov said in a statement to MMA Junkie's Mike Bond, "We all know this is completely BS. The guy is a loser. He's salty and just looking for attention. And that's it." He also posted a tweet about jealous losers, seemingly directed at the hangman. Makhachev didn't stay quiet either. Take a look at what he had to say about the whole cheating situation.
Ну, у нас есть комиссия, я даже комментировать не хочу, потому что у нас есть эксперты, которые работают в UFC, это УСАДА, и меня до боя, после боя 4 раза проверяли, кто-то выставлял там фотографию, что у меня была вена в синяке, но в Австралии у них своя комиссия была, которая брала кровь в неделю боя, это было в среду, и фотографии начали выставлять, брать с четверга, где у нас была фотосессия, так что я не знаю. Ну, это просто кто-то из бойцов раздувал эту тему воздушно, а со стороны UFC или УСАДА никаких вообще ничего не было.
Israel Adesanya, not worried about the belt or keeping score in Alex Pereira's rematch at UFC 287, claiming he doesn't keep score, he settles them. UFC star Israel Adesanya has given his thoughts on his upcoming rematch against Alex Pereira at UFC 287. Last November at Madison Square Garden, Alex Pereira shocked the world. After a competitive fight, he knocked Israel Adesanya out to become the new UFC middleweight champion. Plenty of fighters and pundits believe Adesanya will get the job done this time around. The man himself, though, isn't concerning himself too much with the smaller details, such as the belt itself. "I've never not been motivated to fight this guy, but for this one, I'd put the pressure on myself," Adesanya said. Listen closely.
"I've never not been motivated to fight this guy, but for this one, I've put the pressure on myself, like, fuck the belt, fuck everything else. I have to beat this guy." So, yeah, that's, I guess, my motivation is just beating him. And like I said, they can say whatever they want, you know, it's 1-0 or 3-0. I don't keep score, I settle them, and I just need one, and I'm gonna get it done.
That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.